That plant you walked past this morning, the one with the curled leaves and the sticky residue climbing the stems, you already know how this story ends. Give it 2 more weeks and you will be standing in the garden center, reading the back of a bottle, trying to decide between 3 products that all cost $12 and make the same vague promise. I did that for more than 20 years. Bought the bottles, sprayed the plants, watched the pests come back 2 weeks later like nothing happened. Every single season, the same war, the same weapons, and somehow the same slow defeat. Then I spent time in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. 44,000 people in that county have been growing food on the same plots of land for over 300 years. Same soil, same families. Not one bottle of synthetic pesticide in the entire history of their community. Not one. And their gardens do not just survive the summer. They produce abundantly, cleanly, season after season, on land that should, by now, be exhausted and overrun. Researchers at Penn State, Cornell, and Auburn University are confirming in peer-reviewed studies what those families figured out through 3 centuries of quiet observation.
I've been waiting to share this with you.
Stay with me to the very end,
special.
because the last technique I will share comes directly from Amish dairy farming tradition. I have never seen it mentioned in any gardening book, any university publication, or anywhere in this niche. It uses something sitting in your refrigerator right now. His name was John Kemp. He grew up on a small farm in Northeast Ohio. His father was the regional pesticide distributor, and between 2002 and 2004, they lost 70% of their crops, 3 years running. In 2004, the Kemp family rented a field from a dairy farmer that had never once been sprayed. They planted cantaloupe across both plots. Same variety, same date, same fertilizer. Rows running straight across the property line between the 2 soils. At harvest, on the Kemp family's treated soil, 80% of leaves had powdery mildew. On the dairy farmer's untreated soil, 0 infection. Not a trace. A clean knife line down the middle of that field. Identical plants, 2 feet apart. One destroyed, one perfectly healthy. Kemp was 18 years old with an 8th grade education. He walked into his local library and started reading university textbooks, biology, plant physiology, soil chemistry. He ordered research volumes from Germany and France. For 2 years, he read everything he could find. What he discovered rewrites how most of us understand the relationship between soil, plants, and the insects that feed on them. Plants have an immune system, not a metaphor, a literal multi-layered immune system that responds to mineral nutrition the same way ours responds to sleep and diet. When a plant has the right balance of iron, manganese, copper, and zinc, it achieves complete photosynthesis. It converts all available soluble nitrates into complete proteins. And here is the part that changes everything about pest control. Larval insects, caterpillars, aphids, whiteflies, thrips, cannot digest complete proteins. Their digestive systems are too primitive. They evolved to feed on soluble nitrates. So when a plant converts all its nitrogen into protein, the pest lands, gets nothing it can process, and leaves. The aphid is sitting on an abundant plant and starving to death. This transformation in the plant can begin within 24 to 48 hours of the right minerals reaching the root zone. The Amish had been observing this outcome for 300 years without the scientific vocabulary to name it. Kemp gave them the mechanism. The science caught up to the tradition. So here is your foundation. Every spring, before transplanting a single seedling, spread 2 to 3 inches of well-aged compost across your beds and work it into the top 4 to 6 inches of soil. Source compost that includes aged horse or cow manure if you can. That combination creates a soil microbiome rich enough to unlock the mineral absorption pathways that make plants resistant at the cellular level. The Amish have built the same plots this way for generations. I started 4 years ago, and the difference in my tomato and pepper plants is visible to anyone who walks through. Most American gardens are planted in single crop rows. Tomatoes here, beans there, squash along the far edge. It looks organized, but to a pest navigating by scent, a long, uniform row of one plant is a highway with no obstacles. Amish gardeners mix everything deliberately. They interplant aromatic herbs and flowers directly among vegetables because most garden pests find their targets by smell. Aphids, cabbage moths, hornworms, cucumber beetles all navigate by chemical signals host plants release into the air. When you surround those plants with strong aromatic companions, you create what entomologists call olfactory confusion. The pest cannot locate your tomatoes because the basil, marigold, and dill are drowning out every signal it depends on. It is like tracking one voice in a stadium of screaming fans. The signal disappears. Plant basil within 12 inches of every tomato plant. Nasturtiums attract aphids more aggressively than almost any vegetable crop. Plant them in a ring around the outer edge of your garden, 6 to 8 inches apart. The aphids congregate on the nasturtiums and ignore what grows inside. Once those plants are thick with aphids, ladybugs find the feast and stay all season. You arranged living things. The system ran itself. For generations, Amish dairy families use diluted milk as a foliar spray on their gardens, not as fertilizer, as a pest and disease deterrent. When milk was surplus from the dairy, it went on the garden. Practical and free. In 1999, researchers at Sao Paulo State University ran trials comparing a 10% milk solution against chemical fungicides on zucchini infected with powdery mildew. The milk solution performed comparably. Not somewhat less effective, comparably effective. That research was replicated. The findings held. Whole milk contains lactoferrin, immunoglobulins, and whey proteins. Applied as a foliar spray and dried on the leaf surface, these proteins create a thin film that interferes with fungal spore germination and disrupts the feeding of soft-bodied insects. The potassium in milk strengthens cell walls, reinforcing the same resistance pathway mineral balance identified. Mix 1 part whole milk with 9 parts water, 3 tablespoons per quart. Spray tops and undersides of leaves in the morning when sun is expected, 2 to 3 times per week during high humidity or at the first sign of white powder on squash or cucumber leaves. Not one of these techniques requires a purchase. Every one has been running on Amish farms for generations. Try the milk spray this week. Come back and tell me what you see. Subscribe, because there are more of these systems, and every single one of them belongs to